If you're thinking about building a custom home, you probably have a lot of questions, and you should. Asking the right questions early can save you tens of thousands of dollars, months of time, and a whole lot of stress. Over the past decade of building custom homes here in Northeast Pennsylvania, we've noticed that almost every homeowner asks the same core questions. Today, I'm going to walk you through those questions and give you answers based on real examples, real timelines, and our process at NEPA Builders. First and most important question that we get asked is, how much is it going to cost to build my home? Some people come in and they say, I want to build a 2,500 square foot home. How much is that going to cost? Or a 3 or 4 bedroom home. And they initially want to know what's going to be the price. And they're asking that question to a number of different contractors so they know what their starting point is. And it's really a difficult question to answer because it's based on so many different variables. And those variables are, is it 2 stories? Is it 1 story? Does it need a well and a septic? Does it need a 500-foot driveway? Or does it have public utilities and not need any of those things? So to give a response right out of the gate as to how much is this going to cost per square foot, we could provide an answer, and we will, but at the same time, you need to know that it will be misleading. Now, there are contractors who build model homes, meaning they build that same home over and over and over again, and they know what the cost of the home is going to be. So they could be a lot more accurate when it comes to providing a price for a model home, which is not a custom home, but it's a model that they're building over and over again. What they don't know, what is changing for them, is the site. So that obviously the site is going to be different each time, meaning the foundation is going to be different, how many trees need to be cleared or not, how long is the driveway to that site, and again, is that site in town where there's public utilities, or is it in a rural area, or is it in the country and there's going to be a well and a septic needed and other site related things that are going to drive the cost. Everybody wants to know at least a general idea when they call in. So we are going to give you an idea based on all of the average past projects that we did maybe in the last year to 3 years. And those are going to be ranch homes to 2 stories, and they're going to be public utilities and country homes with well and septic, anywhere in between. So that generally, that $275 to $300 plus per square foot. And how that translates to, let's say, a 2,500 square foot home is going to be, let's say it's a home that has public utilities, it's in town, right? So that's probably going to be like $675,000, closer to that $275 per square foot range, or just connect right to public utility, water and sewer. And that same exact home, whether it's a 2-story or a ranch, that's on a property, let's say in Montrose, that needs a 500-foot driveway, well and septic, easily be another $100,000 to $120,000 just for the well, septic, and that long driveway. So when you're getting that answer, we're trying to provide the most honest answer up front and give you all of the information and details that could impact the home. What we want to make sure is that we're giving you information that is not misleading. Because what you could hear when you call other builders or other places is you could hear prices that are like extremely low. And if you're calling custom home builders that are reputable, you're going to hear the same thing in general. The prices are only going to be so far off from one another, but once in a while you're going to call and you're going to hear something like, our price is $150 a square foot. And I would just caution somebody to say, when you hear prices with anything that are too good to be true, there's probably a reason. And typically the reason is they're not including the foundation, they're not including what the well or the septic or the driveway would cost, they're not including any of the site conditions. Well, all they're including is what the cost of just the home is, which really is logical. It does make sense, but it's not fair to you if they're not telling you up front what makes up that $150 a square foot or that cheaper price per square foot. So I'll leave you with this. If you're going to call a number of people, a number of builders, and you're going to ask for the pricing, make sure you're asking the questions in the beginning. Does this include a foundation? Does it include the site work at my property? Does it include my driveway and my septic or my tie-ins to public sewer? Then you're going to know if you have apples to apples comparison when comparing builders and who you want to work with. And one more quick note before we jump to the next question is, don't forget to ask the builder for references. Speak to a customer that they've worked for in the past and ask them, how was the experience? Was the price accurate? And were they happy with the end result? So the second question that we get is, how long is it going to take to build my home? And that also depends on a number of different things, such as, is it a ranch home with a precast foundation? That could be one example. Or it could be a 2-story that requires a month of site excavation before the house can be built? Is it a poured foundation wall with retaining walls all over the place? And are we going to run through the winter where we're going to have a slowdown of maybe even an additional 30 days? So I would say this. The quickest home that we've built in the last 4 years took us 7 months. It was a precast foundation. It was a 2-story home, about 2,000 square feet. And because of the precast foundation process, we had about 45 days to go all the way through the process of making all the selections so that when we got into construction, all of that was behind us and we just hit the ground running. So if all of those things are in place before construction, it will go a lot smoother. Whereas we can build a 6,000 square foot home that is 2 stories and requires a month of excavation before we even begin the process, has poured walls, and that project can take 18 months, give or take. So depending on the size of your home and how much it really needs before the construction can begin, really depends on how long the project will take from start to finish. So the third question we get is, what is your design process like? And at NEPA Builders, we do what's called a pre-construction service agreement. So people come to us and they either need a design, which we'll help them get, or they already have a design. And then what we're doing is putting together a team and navigating through the design itself, going to the property, figuring out all the site conditions, creating the scope of work, and then putting together a proposal that's based on all of those elements and not just what's on the plans. And it's not just what our assumptions are, but it's detailed questions that we're getting feedback from the client, so we know exactly what they want and what their expectations are, and we're writing a proposal exactly for that reason. If you would like more information on the pre-construction service process, we do have a video exactly for that that is much more in depth. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll find that as well. The fourth question that we get is, do you have any plans that we could look at? And the answer is no, because we don't build model homes, and we never build the same home twice. Every home is a custom home and it's proprietary to that client and what they need. But with that said, we have case studies, which are examples of past projects, just like the ones that you want, that we'll share with you and review so that you could see what is the process like, what does a proposal look like, how much does it cost, what was the size, is this relatable to what I need? And then you get a sense for how we operate. You could see our construction management software and all of those things. Those case studies are also available on our website, so you could navigate there and see that information for yourself. But what we'd like to do is sit down with you and go over those things, each project, so that you're getting that answer that you're really looking for, which is, how much is this house going to cost? So we're going to be able to give you examples or ideas of what we can do for you and what it will cost, but it will be exactly what you want and not a model home or a plan that we can show you of something that we did in the past for someone else. So the sixth question we get is, can you take us to homes that you're building and give us references of past clients? And the answer is absolutely. We love to take people to an active job site so that you could see how we're treating that property, how are we treating that client's home, what do the steps look like, what does construction look like, does it look like it's a mess, or does it look like it's well organized and put together? So we're prideful of that. We want to show you what that looks like. We're also happy to give you references of past clients so that you could talk to them and they could tell you what the experience was like from the very beginning through the very end. So the seventh question that we get is, how do you communicate and what should we expect from you and your team during the construction process? So we handle this a multitude of different ways, and there's multiple different people that you'll deal with throughout the process. So in the beginning, you're going to deal with a project consultant, and then you're going to be handed over to a project manager who is going to be the person that you're with from the day one of construction until the very last day. So communication is phone calls, it's emails, it's text messages, and it's also information provided through Buildertrend that is in the form of daily logs, which are basically communications and notifications that come through with pictures, what happened that day, what happened the day before, and maybe the next day, who was on site. And then what you're also going to get are project status reports, which is another function in Buildertrend that's going to consolidate at the end of the week all of the pictures that took place that week on the project, including a summary of entire write-up. It's also going to tell you things like, here's what we're working on for you if there's a change being made. And it's also going to tell you things like, we're waiting for your selections for plumbing fixtures and electrical fixtures, and we would like to have them by Monday so that we could stay on schedule. So it's going to give us a lens into what is happening now, but it's also going to provide provide a feedback to homework if there is any homework for either one of us. So communication happens throughout the entire process, and it's important to note that this journey is quite an emotional roller coaster, and we do have a full video on that. If you would like to see a more in-depth client expectations video, we do have a full video that goes into this depth of what is this marriage like between us and our client. What we say is we are going to experience all of those things, just like a marriage. We know we're going to have good days and we know that we're going to have bad days. So in the beginning, to make a commitment to one another that we are going to get through all of those things and have a successful ending is super important to know in the very beginning that these are the expectations from the beginning of what communication will look like, and also how we will handle things if we're doing really well or not doing so well, and how we're going to course correct it. So all of those things are really important. It's usually a question that people are asking, and a lot of times, people who have done a construction project in the past, maybe they didn't have a great experience. And so we'd love to know, what was that bad experience like? How can we make sure that that doesn't happen? And what could we tell you about our process that maybe allows you to see that isn't happening and you won't worry about that thing? So covering expectations is really just that, making sure that you have all the communication, the answers that you need, and course correcting along the way until we get to the very end of the project. If you're considering building a custom home, we would love to talk. Visit our website to review case studies of homes just like yours and schedule an appointment so we could help you begin the journey.